All right, I think we can get started if there's no one else joining. Okay, so hey everyone, I'm Kunal. I'm in second year ECE department, and today I'll be taking a workshop. Okay, if you can recall what we did the last workshop, we covered like a basic introduction to HTML, and then like uh, what are what are like the tags, elements, and different types of tags as well, how to structure an HTML document. And then we also dived a little bit into CSS. We saw like the difference between classes and IDs and different ways to write CSS, like inline, internal, and external style sheets, and some basic properties as well. All right, so what will we be covering today? Today we'll be continuing what we started with CSS, and a little more complex. Let's like we'll be going into positioning. We'll be doing Flexbox, and we'll be doing transform properties as well. Uh, Before that, does anyone have any doubts for the first session? If if there's any, you can just let me know in the chat box, or you can like unmute yourself. Any doubts? Anyone? No. All right, then let's get started. All right, so like as I mentioned, we'll continue with what we did with CSS. So first, I'll just create the index.html and another style.css over here, and then the basic emit shortcuts for creating like the boilerplate. So just an exclamation mark, and then you can click on tab. That will create like this boilerplate. So like a quick overview of what we did. The doc type HTML declares to the browser what type of document it is. The HTML tag is like the root element. Within HTML tag, we have two other tags, that is the head and the body. Within the head, we have the details for the website, like the title of the website and the other which style sheet we have to connect to it. And within the body, we have the main content of the website that will actually be shown to the user. Okay. So first, we can just change the title like CSS, and then we can just use live server. And then using the link tag, we'll link the CSS file. Is everyone ready with this? Either you can just follow along, or I can continue and you can learn from this. All right. Okay. So first thing we'll be looking at today is positioning. Before that, we saw elements are of two types in general. That is, they are either block level elements or inline elements. Block level elements, they come one after another, and whereas inline elements, they allow the next element to sit right after it. Example for this could be like a span. Span is an inline element, so like you can just put over here, and if you put another span, uh, you see they all sit next to each other. They don't go to the next line. Whereas in the if we there are other block level elements like say a div, uh, like this is a div, will come in the other line. So this is like a block level element. The span is an inline element, and the div is a block level element. Why I'm explaining this is because if you notice the way these tags are placed, they form a particular flow in the document. Like hello over here immediately comes over there, and span being an inline element allows the next span content to sit right after it. And then the block again comes right after it because it being a block level element. But then there are certain cases where you want a particular piece of content to not appear in the same flow as of the document, like a sign up model or a login model. You want it like to appear only in certain instances and in a separate position of the page. So that's why CSS properties like the position property comes into play. And so before that, I'll just create like a simple box to show how position works. So we'll have like a container over here. Inside the container, we'll have like article tags, inside which we'll have like you can use these lorem shortcuts inside the tags. So this will just put like a random words inside the particular tag without you actually having to type anything. So lorem 19, okay, that's not working. So all right, no issues. You just put this article for now. Okay. So now we have a container inside which there are 3 articles. Now, if we move on to the style, just target we learned how to target the classes and the IDs in the previous workshop. So if you want to style a particular element with the ID container, you have to just use a hash. So hash container. Okay, and you can just give it like a width of 500 pixels and a height of again 500 pixels. Okay, there's a spelling mistake. Okay, and let's give a border to visualize it. Okay, so you can see like uh, there is the border is applied over here. Now let's just style the article tags as well. For styling the tags, you can just put the tag name over here. So we can just give them like a margin of 10 pixels all around over there, and simple border solid and red maybe. Okay. So now suppose say you want the second article. Okay, before that, by default, all tags have like a position of static. What does statics mean here? Static basically means that wherever the element is placed, let it be just like that in the flow of the document. So if the second article is in the second position, it will appear in the website at the second place. I know it's pretty straightforward, but this is what basically position static means. So the first one that we'll see is relative positioning. And this is give it like a separate ID of like 2 to differentiate, like because we'll be giving different positioning for these and testing them out. All right, so we'll just use a second article tag that has an ID 2. We'll give it a position relative. You see, there isn't really much difference. But right now, this instead of static, it has a relative positioning. What this means that this tag still stays in the flow of the document, but now you can use other properties. When along with the position properties, you can use 4 other properties called top, top, left, sorry, right, bottom, and left to set the position of those elements. So now suppose say the second element I want it below second article, I want it below the third article. I can just simply do like a top of 20 pixels or something. And you see it starts moving. So let's just give it a bit more. Maybe like 100 will be better. Right. So you can see this is right now, and I'll just give it a background so that you can see the difference. So you see the second element, even though it was over here, it now moved 100 pixels from the top of the container. This is what basically positioning especially positioning relative does, it keeps the element in the flow of the document. So it's like there is an element here or this hidden part, but after we gave the top property, it moved the element from the flow of the document while keeping the space over there. Is everyone able to understand this? Are there any doubts?
What is the difference between static and relative?
Right. Okay. Suppose say I just simply give static over here. Okay. Static is the default value for all the elements. What static basically means is that uh, I have like div container over here, right? I can just put another hash container over here, and it will bring. What it basically means is every HTML element will appear in a flow, right? So the inside the div container, inside the body there are two divs. So this div will appear first, as in like how we wrote it over here, it'll appear the same in the website. And the second div doesn't have anything, so just empty. But since we specified a width and height, it appears as the second element in the document. That is what basically static means. Appears as it is in the document, same over the website. Did you understand, Rahul?
Yes, no.
Okay. Now the first CSS positioning property is basically relative. We 96, right? So what relative means? Relative, it keeps it in the document. Like there is an element over this space where this element used to be there. But once you can combine it with the top right, bottom left properties, and you can move it anywhere inside the container. Uh, did you get that?
Yes.
Right. So like it keeps the element over here. It does not take it out of the flow, but you can still move it around freely. You can even overlap it with other elements as well. So it comes something like this. It came over the other element. Now I'll just give you the gist of absolute. Okay. Now you see what absolute did. Uh, it removed the element, like it just came out of there. Wait, let's just remove the top as well. It'll be more clear, right? So the first and the third article, these two, they they were it it came. It's like the second element. It just came out of the flow of the document. It's not there anymore in the case of position absolute, but in the document, it is taking its position with respect to some tag around the document. Let me just explain it one more time. Position relative, it does not remove the element from the document flow, but still allows you to position the element. Whereas in the case of position absolute, it removes this, like it's like this article 2 was never here. So that's why this third article takes the place of the second article, allowing you to freely move around the second article. So you can just specify any value, like maybe top the 100 pixels. So it's now moving with respect to the nearest positioned element. Note that I said nearest positioned element. This means right now in the document, there is no nearest positioned element. So it's taking its position with respect to the HTML, I mean the body tag over here. The body tag starts somewhere over here. So it's taking its position like top 100 pixels from the top of the website. Uh, like, did you get that?
Yes.
Right. There is one more property called fixed, position fixed. Fixed. Uh, this more or less works like a absolute, but the difference being that once you put a position fixed, even if the website scrolls, you can see the article is not moving. It just stays 100 pixels from the top of the website. This is what position fixed does. Is that, can you get it? Like, are you able to understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I mean, this is what is there most with position. You can even put like a left maybe like 300 pixels, and you can see it'll move from that. And even if you scroll, that element stays there. Like that's what it implies. Position fixed, stay fixed in the website with a top of 100 pixels and a left of 300 pixels. You can think of this top means like there's like a force pushing it from the top. So there's like it's pushing it 100 pixels from the top, and left 300 pixels means it's pushing it from the left side 300 pixels, causing it to stay fixed at that particular units. Right, this was basically positioning. Next, we just take a look at you know Flexbox. Basically, in while you design a website, you'll have to keep in multiple elements grouped together, and styling them sometimes becomes a bit tedious. So CSS layouts such as Flexbox and grids help us solve this problem easily. I'll show you how it's done. Right. Okay. We just give like an article and um, width of let's say 100 pixel, height of 100 pixel, right? Now, suppose say you wanted these elements to appear side by side, and I'll tell you also why Flexbox is quite advantageous. If you had to bring these elements to the center, like vertically and horizontally align them with respect to the container, you would have to like go and put an margin maybe like 0 or 10 or 2. It doesn't usually work, and you have to target the specific elements over there. What instead you could do is you could make a flexbox of the container that you want to that you want like the articles to stay vertically aligned to. So you can just simply put like a display flex, and you see now they are aligned in one row. Okay? What display flex basically does is it it takes in or whatever is there inside that particular container. Whenever the display flex is given to a container, is called a flex container, and the child elements are called flex items over there. So when you give a display flex, what it basically does is it takes all the elements and puts them one beside another. So now if I like just put them one after other, you can see it, they come one instead of just like coming one below another, they come in one row. And what happens is there, even if you give a width and height over here, what flex does it shrinks it to the smallest size possible, like the smallest size, that is the content over here. So this is the maximum it can shrink with respect to the content that is in there. Now say you wanted to like did you understand what display flex does? It creates a flex box, and all the flex items in there get aligned in a row by default, shrinking to the smallest size, and the smallest size being whatever content is there within it. Did you guys get that?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So now I did say like it makes easier for things to align within the container, right? So you can just do align item center. It will come to the center of, you get vertically aligned, and justify content center. Not center exactly. Since there are three articles, not more than three, what we can do is I'll just remove these three over here. Okay. And I'll just give a justify content like space around. So see now all of it is evenly spaced. We didn't have to put much effort into styling individual tags. All it took is just putting a display flex to the parent container and giving certain properties over here that aligned it to the center of the box. Now, what does align items and justify content basically mean? Whenever you put a display flex, you can think of a box in the term of like an x-axis and a y-axis. So when it's in display flex, the x-axis or the main axis is what controls the justify, is controlled by the justify content property. So I'll just remove this for now. Okay. So justify content over the x-axis, how much space do you want each of the flex items to have? Here, justify content over the main axis, you want to keep space around each flex item. That is what this property means. There are other properties such as space evenly or even space between over here. That will put space between each to the maximum possible, and will push the starting and the ending flex item towards the end. This is what justify content. It takes it with respect to the main axis, or the, you could say, the x-axis over here. Then comes the align items. Align items takes it with respect to the y-axis, or you could also call it the cross-axis over here. So now if I just put center, it comes in. So like it's vertically aligned. So align items takes care of the takes care of aligning things vertically. In the case of display flex, like default row alignment. There are other properties also like flex start, that is by default is there. And there's even like flex end where you can bring it down. So you didn't have to give much focus to styling each elements. You just had to give a particular type of property within the flex container, and you could just position these elements. Did you guys get that?
Yeah.
Any doubts so far?
Yeah.
Right. So I'll get this back again. I mean, now these are like when you put flex, and these properties, they apply to all of the flex items within the flex container. But now let's just say, what if you want the second article to be on the top or be on the bottom? So you can apply these specific properties to those specific flex elements. Suppose say the second one, you can just put align. You want this second article to be on the bottom, so you can just put align self as flex end. It'll bring it down. So there are properties that are specific to the flex items. That is the child element in which we put the display flex for. And then there are other properties such as like, I mean, we need, so we can just put a background over here so I can show you how it works. Background, maybe yellow here, and you can just put order of like 0 or -1, I think. Yeah, it'll just switch the position with the element. So this, you could think of like this is the 0th element in the flex. This is the first and this is the second. So since I gave like a -1 for the second element over here, it went behind the first one. It changed this, it swapped the order in which the flex items were arranged. Or you could even put like maybe 2. It'll swap the position. Yeah, did you guys get the idea of this?
What is difference between align self and align items, Kunal?
Yeah, that's a great question. So align items is a property that is specific to the parent, that is the flex container, and the align self is a property that is specific to the flex item. So now when you give align item center, it positions all the elements to the center. So I'll just comment this out for now. You can see like this is in the center, or it brings all the child or the flex items to the center. Whereas in the case of align self is for the flex items. So this whole black border thing, that is the flex container, whereas the individual red ones are the flex items. So now suppose say you want this third article to be on the uh, bottom position of this container. You could just as well put like a align self to the flex item, that is the red border one, and give like align self of flex end, that will bring it down. So flex end and flex start, and the top part of the container is called flex start, and the bottom of the container is the flex end. Was that clear?
Yes, clear.
Yeah. Uh, all right. There are now say you have more than one article. You have many, right? It keeps going like this. You don't want this to be happening. It's shrinking all the articles a bit too much. You want the default height and width to apply. What you can do is to the parent container or the flex container, you just give a flex ref and ref. It'll bring all of them, and it'll automatically put the spacing based on the justified content over here, or justified content or the margin that is there for the each article. So you can see it brings the other elements down, and it keeps the original width and height of each of the flex item. And one other thing what it does, sorry, I mean, these are like, you know, these units are fixed units, so we can't exactly explain it over here. But what it will do is when the screen gets small, it'll automatically bring this element below the other one while it shrinks. So it works hand in hand with responsive design as well. Was it clear, like how FlexWrap works?
Yes.
Right. There are in this, there are even properties called flex direction mainly. We'll remove flex wrap for now. What flex direction you saw is like by default, it's all in one row. Now, what if you wanted it to be in a column? So you can just put flex direction column, and it'll bring it, all of it will come in one single column over here. Right. And one thing to notice, when it's in by the default value over here, here is row. The flex direction default value is row. That is why it appears in one row when you put display flex. So when you change it to flex direction column, it all comes in one single column. And there's an inversion between how these two properties work as well. When you put flex direction column, the main axis, that was the x axis, becomes the y now, and the y axis, that was a cross axis, becomes the x now. Now if I remove this, and okay, there's many elements over there, that's why. Right. And I'll just remove the align items as well. You see, so now the align items works in the horizontal manner, whereas the justify content will work in a vertical manner. Do you get the idea? Like when you change the flex direction, the vertical and horizontal aligning with respect to the align items and justify content also gets switched. Did you get the idea?
Yeah.
Little bit.
Or do you want me to explain one more time? I can explain to you. Not a problem. All right. So by default, when you put display flex, all the flex site, the flex direction by default is row. So it will all appear in one row. And then you can align them vertically using the align items property when it is in flex direction row, vertical alignment, and then horizontal alignment can be done with let's just this one. Yeah, horizontal alignment or spacing can be done with the justify content. Now, when I put flex direction row, sorry, column, it brings all the flex items in one single column, and the align items and justify content gets interchanged. So now align items works for the horizontal alignment instead of vertical as in the previous case. So if I put align item center, it'll bring it all horizontally center and justify contents. Just a second, someone here. Right. Okay, let's continue. And the justify content, what it does is it uh, vertically puts space or aligns the items. As in the case of row, it was horizontally. Is it clear now?
Yes, now clear.
Okay, right? Okay. I mean, so this was what we needed to learn Flexbox. Next, we'll go to transform and transform property. With transform property, you can do some really cool stuff over here. Okay. Uh, right. So I'll just take this out. Maybe just take this out. Okay. So I'll just put like another div with an ID of a box over here and come to the CSS like a box, right? I'll just give it like a position for that a width of 100 pixels, height of 100 pixels, and then border solid uh, black. Okay, so you can see that it appears over here in the website. Now I can just, if I want it in the center, I can just bring it in the center using position relative and top 50% and left 50%. Right. So it's not exactly center, but it changes the position of that particular box. Before that, you can just specify the body height as well. Hey, are you guys aware of CSS units? Do you have any idea about that?
Little bit.
Little bit, right? I mean, it varies from pixels that are like set units, absolute units, and then there are even relative units such as percentage or VH. Uh, what VH basically does is VH means viewport height. Viewport height is the height of your whole screen. I mean the whole web page. So what 100 VH means? Take the whole height of the whole web screen. Okay, and then what percentage means? It top 50% means 50%. It takes it with respect to its parent. So top 50 means from top take a 50% of 100 VH. And from left, that is over here, you take 50% of the 100 VH. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
Right? Okay. So now we'll take a look at, you know, uh, transform property. It's a really cool one, right? So you can rotate elements, you can move elements around, you can, even skew them. You can do a lot of things with a transform. Okay. So the first one we'll take a look at is scale, transform scale. Suppose say you want to increase like scale element means like make it big or make it small with respect to its original. So say I want to make it like 2 times larger than its original one. I just put a scale 2. You see, it becomes big. And another like a scale 3, it becomes like 3 times bigger over here. Then the next transform is basically rotate, and it takes in like the value in degrees. So say I want to rotate it 45 degrees, it'll rotate like that. And keep in mind that it rotates it in a clockwise manner. So if I just put 20, it will move towards the right. So like in a clockwise manner, it rotates that particular element. Next we have like translate. Suppose say I wanted to translate it, translate X and translate Y or all like properties. Translate in the X direction means move it in the X direction. So in the X direction, how much I want to move it is basically like, you could say 20, maybe 200 pixels or something. So it moves it towards the right, 200 pixels. And then translate Y, you could say it'll move it to the bottom 200 pixels. One thing to note, like you can even put negative values over here. Minus 200 means bring it top by 200 pixels. You get it? Like there are many things you can do with the transform property. Is that clear?
Yes.
Right. Right. And I just wanted to show this also. So rotate. You can even rotate it either in the X direction or the Y direction. So suppose say in the X direction, I want to rotate it by like 50 degrees. You can, it's shrunken, but let me just give an overview of how it actually works. You can think of the three-dimensional box like X and Y. Okay? So when there is this was our box, right? So when you put rotate in the X direction, it either moves like this if it's in the positive, or like this if it's in the negative. This is in the case of if you put rotate X. But now in the case of when you put rotate Y, suppose I just change this to rotate Y. It looks like it's width and height is changed, but it's actually you're seeing it from a 50-degree perspective. So when you put rotate Y, it switches like this in the Y axis. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean that's about it for the three properties that we were supposed to cover for today. Now we can start building our clone. Before that, I want to know if all of you have downloaded those pictures.
Yes.
Right? I
Yes.
mean, even if you haven't, here's the link to the drive. You can just download the pictures. Okay. Is here and all right. So everyone's ready with the pictures, right?
Yeah. Ready.
Right. So we'll be building this. Our main project is the Spotify clone. So today, what the main goal is, we'll be building the sidebar over here and the navbar on top of this that will show the account profile and all that. We'll be working on the main content, that is the music and all others, and even this music player head over in the bottom in the later sessions. Today's goal is just to make the sidebar and the navbar over here, just to show you how it looks. Uh, right. So this is what the clone will look like, what we'll be building today. You can see just like a simple, uh, it looks somewhat similar to that. But keep in mind, we are not working on responsiveness today. Today's goal is just to learn how to like structure the web page and how to approach styling it and writing out the code. All right, so I hope everyone's downloaded the pictures. I'll also keep them ready in my folder. Save this. Okay, so I've kept them ready before. And before we get started, uh, it might be a bit overwhelming thinking where it looks a bit complex. Where exactly do you start coding? Where do you start applying the style? And where do you exactly get started? That's also a major question that you have to think of. Okay, so before starting coding, you can do something called like a wireframing process, where you break down the website into small parts, and then you start thinking about styling those small parts individually instead of doing the website as a whole, like directly. So now I've taken like a screenshot over here. You can see like this is the whole website. Uh, the first thing is the whole website itself is one whole container, right? Can anyone tell me like what are the other containers you can think of over here? Does anyone have any clues that you? What are the container do you think you notice?
The sidebar.
Yeah, that's right. So like the sidebar is one, you know, one part of
Navigation
the
bar.
website. Other than, so yeah, navigation bar. That's absolutely right. So this is also one part of the website. Any other clues? Right. We even have the the music player head as one part of the website. So you, instead of thinking of styling the whole web page, you just focus on styling an individual part of the web page. So now, since today I mentioned we'll be only building the sidebar and the nav bar, I just split them into two. Okay, so you can see sidebar. Also, you can break it down, make it easy. Okay, breaking it down and then style it. So this is like a first one. This is the the logo. Then we have the buttons in one separate box. Then we also have the links in one separate box. And finally, we have the install app button in the bottom. So it makes it simple now, right? So instead of thinking about styling the whole website, you just have to break it down into small parts and then style them. Even in the nav bar, you can see like the whole thing is one container. Within the container, we have two boxes. That is the front and back button, and finally like the upgrade to pro like Spotify Pro, or even the your and then your profile. So it becomes simpler in styling the website when you break it down like this. Is that clear? You get the idea of wireframing,
Yes.
right? Okay, so uh, once you keep doing this, you get it starts becoming visually like it will come to you naturally once you keep doing this. So you can start out by breaking down websites like this initially to have a visual interaction of how you'll actually approach the code. So for now, let's just get started with the clone that we'll be building. That is this one. Okay. So as usual, you start with the index.html. Okay. You can create an images folder to keep everything organized. Right. The images folder. Okay. So all the images are in one folder. You can keep them. It's better to keep them in separate folders. It keeps the file structure organized. Okay. So now, and then even like a separate folder for CSS. In the CSS, we'll create like a style.css over here. And then let's just get started. Okay. So first, the exclamation mark for the boilerplate. You don't need this line because not many people use Internet Explorer, and you can just put like Spotify title as Spotify web player over here, because you can see in the actual website also it shows like a web player title over here, and you can start the live server. So now it's over here. This is our actual website over here. Now you see in the actual website, near the title there's the Spotify logo, right? You can add that using the link tag in the head. So you can just do like a link, and you just put a rel type like of icon, and you give the location of the icon using the hypertext reference attribute. We know it's in the images folder with the name of icon.png, and then you just simply close the tab. Now, if you come over to this side, you can see the icon appears on the title, near the title of the website. Next, we'll just link our CSS. And since it's in a separate folder, you just do go inside that folder and save it. Is everyone able to follow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And one more thing, you see this home icon, the search icon, library, add, heart, and all that. There's a website called Font Awesome where you get all these icons. For most of them, majority of them are free that you can use in your website. Okay. So before doing this, how do we exactly get this icon to our website? Okay. So you need to link that particular the that particular style sheet that gives gives these icons so that we can use them in our website. So I'll just put this in the chat box. You can copy and paste it in your head of your HTML file. Right? Did everyone do it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Next thing, as I mentioned, the website can be split into parts. So now within the website, this whole the red box is the body of the website. Within the body, you can just split it like this for now. The sidebar is one particular part of the website, and the whole, uh, the whole this part is one particular. They come side by side, right? So this is one particular part of the website. So sidebar, and you could just simply call this
Kunal,
content. Okay. Yes, Raghu.
sorry to disturb. Will you resend the link?
Yeah, no issues. I'll put it again.
Thank
Don't worry, Kunal. I will put the link again.
You'll put the link, right? Okay. Thank you,
Yeah.
Himanshu. Right. So you can split, not split, like you can look at the website as two different parts for now, as the sidebar and the content part of the website. And within the content, we have two things. That is the nav bar and the nav bar, this one over here, and the main like music contents and all that, right? So today the sidebar and the nav bar will be building. So let's start. You can just within the body we have two things, that is a div with an id sidebar and div with an id content. Do you get the idea like why we are exactly doing this?
you. Yeah.
Right, okay, so we'll first do the html for the sidebar, then we'll do the css for it, then we'll move on to the content, and then we'll do the css for it. Okay. So I'll just keep this one, the wireframe, what we did open side by side. Okay. So we get like a clear view of what we are doing. So within the sidebar, the first thing we have is a logo. So we can just put logo, within which we have an image tag. And the source is in the images folder. Images, it's a logo.png. And all this is, you could just put Spotify logo over here. The next thing we have is the buttons in one container. And this container, you could see it's like two types. One is like plain icons over here, or this part. And another one is like a different button, like unique type button. So we'll just create two separate containers for that. We'll just simply call it with like a div uh, with an ID, like navigation or something. Okay. Another one with a div ID like call to a CTM, like call to action, or just simply you can just give it uh, navigation underscore tools, because it's the second part. Okay. So we just created two divs for this one and some white divs too, because they are block level elements, and they'll come after one after other. Okay. So within the navigation, we have like all of these are buttons that link to some part of the website. So if I like go click on search, it'll come to this part. So the same thing over here as well. So previous session we learned about linking, right? which tag do you, is used for linking?
Anchor tag.
Anchor tag, exactly. Okay. So now we'll use like an anchor tag. You can just give it like a class of uh, navigation, like navigation underscore item, and you can put since there are like three: home, search, and library. You can make three of those. Okay. So now we have like three anchor tags. Right? Three anchor tags, and within which first what we want is the home icon. So I'll just put the link to the font awesome, where you can after you put that in your uh, head, you can go to this website, and then over you can search the icon that you need. So I'll just search home over here. You see we get like a home icon over here. You and over here, like just below that, you'll see an I tag with a class FA home. Is it visible to everyone? You just click on it, it'll get copied. And you just come to your website and you just paste it over there. So if I come back here, it'll show up on this part. I mean, right now, this space over here is being taken up by the Spotify logo. We'll adjust the style later, okay? So when you put that icon tag over here, it brings in that home icon. Next, and below that, beside that is written home, right? So beside that, you can just open like a span tag and just put home. Then next is the search. So you can just go to font awesome again, scroll to the top and put search. Is it working for everyone? Like, is everybody following along?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so now the search icon, you do the same thing for the next navigation item, paste it, and then just put another span with search over here. And then the next one was like a library one. The closest one you can think of like line kind of thing. So a vertical line kind of this for the library. So you just click on this, copy and paste it. And then within that, it's like a span and it has like your library, right? The same as all this will now appear over here. We can right now it looks like very plain. When we get to the styling, it'll start looking good. Okay, so I mean this is for the top part. We finished like two parts of the sidebar now. See like how simple it is when you actually break it down and you do it. Next is like the second navigation over here. That is the navigation link. But before that, you see there's like a horizontal line over here in the website. So you can just put like a horizontal rule after the uh, navigation div. So you just put HR maybe like this. Okay, sorry, that's after the two navigation. So it'll come after the second navigation. We can just put HR dot line maybe. Okay. Now let's work on the second navigation that has like those special icons. Since the font awesome only offers us like plain icons, we'll have to build those small boxes by ourselves. It's pretty straightforward. Again, we'll just use like anchor tags over here. We'll call them anchor tag dot nav2 item or something like this. And then this case. And we need three of those like last time. Is everyone reached till here? Anybody like falling back? You need some help? All right, I'll just. I mean, no one is there. Like, I mean, everybody is still this point? No, right? Okay, all right, let's
Yes,
continue.
done.
All right, so now within the second, the nav item, second container, you see like the icon is a bit different. It has like a box around it. So we can't just put the same default one. We need to style it separately, right? So you just create a separate, a span over here with a class, of like nav to icon. And it's like three types, right? The one is like a plus symbol, one like a heart, and one like kind of like a radio or a podcast. So you can just give an ID so that we can specifically style it later. So this is just like a plus over here, and within that we'll put the plus icon. So you just search plus in font also. Copy this and put it over here. Okay, and I'll just copy this one, put it over here, and right. Okay. Next is you need like a heart. So you can just take this heart over here, copy the heart and put in the second one and change the ID to heart as well. And the third one is like a podcast. So you can just search for podcast over here. This exact icon. Copy it and paste in that place and change the ID to podcast. Uh, and side by side, we have the names like create playlist, like songs, your music. So after the span for the icon, you just create another span like create playlist over here. Then the second one is my like your liked songs. And the third one for the last span will be your episodes. So we just take a look what it looks like this so far. This is the first. Suppose after we style it, it'll be more clear. This is the first link container. This is the second one. This is the horizontal line. Next is the music links over here. So you can just make like another div for this whole bottom one over here. So after the navigation tooling, there's a horizontal line. This one over here, and then you just hit div ID bottom. Okay. And inside the bottom, this whole thing is like a list, unordered list. You could say like that. So within that, we have the UL with an ID, maybe like music list over here, and we have like it could be different musics, right? So we'll just have maybe uh, li tags with like music item, and we need like three or this is just take four example, and within each, since these are actual links that goes to the playlist, we'll put anchor tags. So another anchor tag with like a music uh, link class. So now we'll get four of these. So before that, you can just, instead of you having to type it out, you can use the image shortcut. So you can just put music hip hop and like a dollar over here. So it automatically fills out 1, 2, 3. So over here you see hip hop music one, hip hop music, and since the unordered list, it appears like a button. Okay. Is everybody followed along till here? Any doubts so far?
Kunal,
Yes, Raghu.
I'm getting some error. The home and search icons are not showing in my browser.
Home and search icon. Okay, can you uh, have you put the the first link that we told to put in the head? Is that there?
Yes,
Okay.
but it shows the library.
Like, can you maybe like share your screen?
Uh, I'm using mobile.
Mobile.
Okay,
Okay.
I tried to do it.
What's the like? The icons are not loading.
Mm, yeah, the library logo is showing some box-like structure.
Library logo. Are you sure you put the right one? I mean, the other logos, are they all right?
No.
Okay,
Okay, I
then.
tried. You go. I tried.
I mean, it's this one over here. So do I'll put in the chat box. I'll
Yeah,
just put
I'm
it,
using this.
right. Okay, okay, all right. Shall I continue?
Yeah,
Yeah, all right. Now these links are like individual anchor tags. I mean, these music lists, they are like anchor tags that link to to the playlist. So we need to link something, right? So we are using anchor tags within the li, and after that we have the install app button. So like it's the last one. So just something like maybe div, no, with an ID download, download link, download, or maybe just ID download. Within that we have the anchor tag. So within ID download link over here, and within the anchor tag we have the like the download icon over here. So again you go to font awesome, search like download, and you'll get, you just scroll a little bit down, you'll get the circle one. Copy it and put it within the anchor tag, and then after that just simple span install app. And with this we are like done with the sidebar structure. uh, if everybody is done till here, then we can move on to the css. Is everybody finished till here?
Yes, done.
Done. All right. So now we'll keep this one open over here. Okay. So one thing before you start a project, make sure you do this. You just do the star means like an all selector, meaning this should apply to all elements. By default, all elements should have like a margin 0, padding 0, and a box sizing border box. I guess this was explained in the previous workshop. Does anybody know what this does? The box sizing border box. Any idea, anyone?
it makes the whole website margin 0 and padding 0.
Yes, I mean, yeah, that's right. Basically, it the content of the box, it goes. I mean, the content and the border, they take the common width and height instead of taking them separately. That's what box sizing border box does, right? And before this, there's uh, one more thing I have to, like, the you can see the font of Spotify is a bit different, right?
Yeah,
Right. So for that, we have to get like a different font. You can use something like fonts.google.com over here to get that particular font, or you can, for now I'll just share it to you. Basically over this website you can share, I mean you can search whatever font you want and whichever you think will be the most appropriate to your website that you're creating. So right now I'm using like a Lato kind of font over here. I'll put this in the chat box. Okay. Like, so what you do is this particular line of code, you copy it and you paste it in the top of your CSS. Have you done that?
Yeah.
Right. And the next thing you want to do is within your, like, either you can put it in your body or you can just simply put in your all. So you can just put font family. That font family basically means what font should be applied for, and that particular element. Since we give like all, it gives this font is applied for all the elements. You just type in Lato, and you just give a fallback font in case the the Google Fonts doesn't work. So now you see the font is changed in our website. Okay. And next we take a look, you can see the body of the whole website having a different color. Go to the home, you can see like it goes from a lighter tone to a darker tone in the bottom, the body of the Spotify. So what we can use over there is you just go to the body tag, you just give it like a background, and we use something called linear gradient. What linear gradient basically does is it gives a color usually from left to right. So if you just put green and blue, you can see like it, sorry, it's from top to bottom. So it starts green and it slowly gradients towards blue, right? So, and you can even specify like what angle it should start at. So suppose over here, I can just specify like 45 degrees, and it will now start at an angle. So 45 degrees from the bottom, it goes to the top. So, but we want to follow the specific styling for the Spotify clone. I'll just share that particular color over the chat box in a minute. Just 1 second, guys. Okay, so this is the one. You want to put this background linear gradient within your body tag, body selector over here. I'll just take this. Okay. And now if you see that particular color that we want should be there, okay? You give it like a body height, 100 VH, and width 100 VH. So we set the height and width of the body to like the whole website screen. Okay. And now you see the font, the anchor tags, it has like a underline and like a blue color. That doesn't look so good. So we can just target the anchor tags, give like a property text decoration none. It'll remove the underline, and you can just put color hashtag like white. So now it's all white color. Now let's just get started with the sidebar. Sidebar will give a position. Can anyone guess what it is? You can see in the main page, even though I can scroll here, but the sidebar stays fixed. What position property do you think we should apply?
Fixed.
Fix it, correct, right. So now you just give a position fixed, and then you go top 0, left 0, and it just stays like almost over here, like this part of the website. So you can just give like maybe maybe like 30% width of 30%. What with 30%? Anyone has any idea?
In comparison to parent element.
Yes, exactly.
30%.
So exactly. So now 30%. So with respect to the parent element was the body. So it takes 30% of the whole website width. So now width is 30%. Okay. And then, sorry. And then the background of the sidebar is a bit dark, right? So we just put background and it's like a full black. So like this is 000 over here. And you can see it's like, since the logo is big, we have to style that, but you can see the sidebar appearing over here. Next, we'll just give a padding of 20 pixels so it doesn't see too clumped or anything. Okay. Now let's style the image. So we gave like a div with a logo, and within that is an image. We can just give like a cursor, maybe pointer over here. Okay. What does cursor pointer do? So whenever I hover over the image, the arrow, my arrow changed to like that hand symbol, like the pointer symbol. Okay. And like a width of 200 pixels. Okay. Margin of maybe like top and 20 pixels and 10 pixels for right and left. So you can see it's starting to come into place slowly. And sidebar, it goes from top to bottom, right? So you can just put like a height of maybe 100%. You want the whole width. So that's the line. So we are getting that slowly.
Kunal,
Yes, Raghu.
why are you using the greater symbol in logo image?
Yeah, greater symbol. This is basically like it's known as the Descendant Selector. What does that means it? Uh, First find the element with the ID logo, and then within the element with the ID logo, if an image tag is a direct child, then you put these styles to it. Or else, if I like just put a no space, it would still work. It still works. Okay, so what this when without the arrow mark, it simply means every image tag within the logo element will have the this properties, like even if it's a grandchild element or something like that. But when I put an arrow means what the direct child. So if I go to the code over here, we have a logo, right? So if I just make another div over here, within the div, if I have another image, without the arrow, it will even target this image also. But with the arrow, it will only target the direct child. That is this one. It won't target this one. Is that clear?
Yeah, clear.
Right, let's continue. Okay, so now the image is set. It looks similar to what is over here, right? That is, right. Maybe if you want, you can reduce it like 1 time because it's a bit, okay, not 2000, right? Bit smaller over there. Okay. Okay, so the logo is set. Next, we want to style the navigation that we did, right? Navigation and navigation. What is it? _2, I think. There. So now we want to, since these both are containers with similar styles, we can style them using the comma. I mean, comma basically means give the same style to this element with ID navigation and ID navigation too. So the common styles that we'll be giving for them is like these links. We
Kunal,
want them. Yes, Rahul.
second navigation spelling is incorrect.
Oh, you're right. Thanks a lot. Navigation, right? Okay, so if you see the website, all of these appear one below another, but in our website they are coming like side of each other. That is because anchor tags are like inline elements. Instead of changing those to block elements, what you could do is you could just put a display flex and a flex direction column there. Now, so now they appear one below other. If you have, see this is the difference that Flexbox layouts make. Instead of styling each of these individually, you just give it to the parent container, and it makes things a whole lot easier. Next, we want some spacing within each, so we'll give margin top and bottom 15 pixels and right and left like another 15. Okay, so now see the spacing is over here created and right and left as well. And next you can just put like a color of like, you know, it's like an hashtag 121212, right? Right. How did I exactly get this color, right? If you go to Spotify, you can see like it's a bit lighter tone. You can use an extension called Colorzilla. I'll share this to you like after the workshop. So you can use this extension and you can choose, it'll take a pointer and you can choose, whenever you hover over one thing, it gives you the color for that. So if I simply hover over here, it'll give me that color and it'll automatically get copied to your keyboard. So that's how I found this particular color for the font. Next, we'll right. So next we'll like increase the font size a bit. Font size to like maybe 16 pixels. Oh, this should be okay. Right. Next, we'll work on styling the first navigation. So it is like an dot. We gave a navigation and an item, and each navigation item will have like a margin in within that itself. We want some spacing, so 5 pixels top and bottom and 0. Padding because when we hover over it, it'll like it'll get highlighted. So to separate the text from the border, we use the padding, and then like a border radius. Even though it won't be visible now, I'll show you how it looks. So just put like a 5 pixels border radius, opacity of 0.8. Okay, so now you see how this looks, right? And then dot navigation item, you can put a hover pseudo class. What does dot hover basically do is, not colon hover. If I give it to an element, especially in our case, the navigation item, where when the element is hovered, that time these properties will be applied. So we want it, you see it over here, right? So when in this case, it's a click, but that requires JavaScript. So we'll just work with hover properties over here. So you can see when that particular one is selected, it has like a background color is changed and it's more highlighted, more opaque. So that's why I gave like an opacity 0.8. So when it is hovered, I want the background, sorry, the spelling, background to be that particular color. Should I put it in the chat box or is it visible to everyone here?
Is it visible?
Yeah, visible.
Okay, visible, right? Okay, so that particular color is hashtag 282828, and just set the opacity back to 1. Right, so now if I hover, you can see it changes. Is this appearing? I mean, is it coming for you as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looks pretty cool, right, so far? Okay, right. So now next, the spacing between the home and the icon are too close to each other. We don't want that, right? So you just go to now dot navigation item, and we'll use like the Descendant Selector. So direct child span, that was the text. We'll give a margin left of like 15 pixels maybe. Okay, so now you see there is spacing between that. It looks clean and minimal over here. Okay, now we'll style the second one. It more or less is a similar, only thing that we have to work on the icon a bit. So navigation I think it was nav2, right? Nav2 item. Yeah, it was nav2 item. So over here, again, we just need space between those elements, so 5 pixels and right and left 0. A padding for the box, so 10 pixels, 10 pixels over here. Why 10 and 15 over here? I'll explain in a while, because the icons, they will have their own spacing. So that will get adjusted over there. Then we have like a border radius, same as the last one, 5 pixel, and like a opacity 0.8. Okay. Next, we want to make those icons, right? So nav2 underscore icon. For that, you just give the same thing, nav2 item, hover. When it's hovered, we want the background to be set to the like the active type, and the opacity to 1. So now these also will have the same ones as that. All right, so now the icons. The icons in the Spotify clone are a bit different over here. So we'll have to style those separately. It's pretty simple. Just you need to give its own margin right to push the text over that side, over to the right, so these are all in line in one single line. Next, a border. Sorry, not. Oh yeah, a border radius for the box itself. So like you can just put 5 pixels, and padding 5 pixels, and like a width of like fit content. With fit content meaning like takes the whatever content is that it should take that width. Okay, so now we'll just style the individual icons. So plus has like a gray kind of background, so you can just put gray over here, here, and you see it starts coming over there. Okay. And then the next is the heart, right? Heart, it has a background. A background is it goes from like a purple to a white kind of thing. So you can we can use the same linear gradient over here, linear gradient, and you can just put 125 degree, because it's coming from the top and it's going to the top left and going to the bottom, and purple and white. Right. So you see over here it's come, and then we have the podcast. Podcast background is like hashtag 0064 and 50, and the podcast icon itself is of a different color. So hashtag 17 BD5C. There. Now these icons are also separate. After that, we have to style the line. We need some spacing in the top and bottom. So we gave a class of dot line for the HR, and just put margin maybe top and bottom 15 pixels and right and left 0. Next, we have like the music items, right? The list. For that, just the bottom container. We have like display flex and flex direction column, and you can just put justify content space evenly. Right? Okay, that's okay. We can work on that later. Okay, so now first thing is the music links over here. We want them to have spacing and stuff. So we gave like an ID music list. So ID music list. List style, you could just put it as none. Does anyone have any idea what this does? The list style
Remove
property
styles.
removes the list. Like we saw before the background, it was like a bulleted points, right? So it removes that. Next, we'll just give an same opacity over here for 0.8. While when it's hovered, it will be full, and then some spacing using margin. 10 pixels and then 15 pixels, same as the others. So it's aligned. Okay. And then we have the dot music item. Those are the individual list items. We can just put like since we want this to be individually spaced, so again 10 pixels and 15 pixels. So now they're spaced. Okay, I think this one opacity should have been applied to the individual items, not the whole X. Okay. And just like these other things, we want it to become active when it's hovered. So dot music item and and when it's give us hover opacity to 1. Is everybody getting this?
Yeah.
Right. And then the final one is the download. This one download. So we can just put just 1 second, guys. Oh. Okay, this is the last part of the sidebar. We'll just finish this off and then we'll end the session. Okay. Okay. This is for sidebar. Since it's already 7:30, we can continue building the navbar on the next session. Is everyone reached till here? Maybe you can. So, is everybody clear till this part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. All right. I'll share this code with you in the WhatsApp group. You can check it out over there. Any doubts? Anything?
Not now.
Not now. Eh? I mean, you can always ping us in the WhatsApp group. We'll help you out over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Thank you.
send some resources as well, so you can refer it.
Yeah.
All right.
Send resources about positioning.
Yes, I'll definitely send in the WhatsApp group. You can refer it over there.
Yeah. Thank
All
you.
right. Yeah. Thanks for coming, everyone. I hope you had like a good time seeing this.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. If you have any doubts, you can ask right now.
Once I try it, and then I will ask you, Kunal.
Yes, definitely. Looking forward to that. Thanks, Raghu.
Thanks, Kunal, for teaching us.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in the next workshop.
Thank you.
Guys, I mean, does anyone have any doubt? If there isn't any, you can leave the meeting right now. We are done for today. We'll continue the navbar on the next session due to time constraints.
Yeah, okay, Kunal. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Kunal.
Bye, Vedant.
Bye bye.
Samyak, if you don't have any doubts, you can leave right now. We'll continue in the next workshop. I'll share some resources in the WhatsApp group as well. Mosum, where is there?
Yeah, Kunal, you can remove him.
Yeah. Okay. I think it was okay. I went a bit too slow.
No
अच्छा
issues.
था
No issues. No issues.
अच्छा था
We
काफी
have to compensate this in the next session. Okay.
Yes, yes. Was it okay? I know I
Yeah,
missed.
it
I
was.
wasn't.
It was really okay. ये 15 minutes तुम्हें उधर extra लग गई, ठीक है? I guess you finished the CSS part at about 6:50. It's okay. I mean, I'm not saying क्यों किया खत्म, but it is okay. तो next में तुम्हें अब नया बार प्लस बाकी चीजें करनी होंगी, okay? साइड बार हो गया था या साइड बार में भी कुछ पेंडिंग?
Sidebar we finished it.
Okay, okay, nice.
Just on time we finished.
Okay. Then you can take the naya bar in the next session, okay?
Yes, fair. I mean, Nava is pretty small, so I think we can finish it within 15-20 minutes.
Okay.
Was it understandable?
Yeah, it was understandable.
I think I might have used some terms a bit too advanced, right? Maybe I should keep it a bit more simple. Like I shouldn't directly jump to like.
No, I mean it was okay. They're getting you because they are responding. So, but I don't know. 5 ही लोग थे, है ना हिमांशु?
हाँ ज्यादा नहीं थे
First day there were like 12, or today they're like 6 or 5 or 6, I think.
भैया ने सही कहा था आखिरी तक बहुत कम रुकेंगे
हाँ, that's why मैंने बोला था छोटा ही सेशन रखना है, ठीक है?
So at least most of them stayed along. I'm sharing some resources in the WhatsApp. I like written it out and kept. I'll put them in the group right now.
Okay.
I completely forgot to share it in the first week. And this one. Okay, I mean, what was required, like I shared it over there. Now, I'll just compress that one as well.
Sorry?
I mean, what we worked so far today, I'll just compress and send that as well.
Okay. Just a second. पहले थीना भाई से पूछ लो कि शेयर करना है.
Okay, I'll ask him right now.
हाँ, ठीक है. You can stop the recording as well.